Welcome to this week's KBJ Weekly Pan-African News Roundup. Here we serve you with all the major news headlines from across Africa and the African diaspora. The headlines: Kenyans yet to know their next president, days after voting. Violent protests in Freetown over rising cost of living. The Confederation of African Football launches the Super League. With almost half of the results from Kenya's presidential elections now confirmed, there's an indication that the two main candidates are running neck and neck. The results of 141 out of 292 constituencies have now been confirmed. Vice President William Ruto has taken a slight lead over ex-Prime Minister Raila Odinga with 51% as against 48%. The Electoral Commission head has admitted that announcing the results of last Tuesday's election has been too slow. The verification of results has been stopped several times after complaints by supporters of the two main candidates. Riot police have been deployed inside the building to reinforce security. There have been calls for peace from several leaders and bodies, including the Catholic Church, which has asked for patience and civility and urged the main candidates to show restraint and statesmanship as anxiety grows. Media organizations have been releasing provisional tallies using official data from 46,000 polling stations. They also have shown a tight race. About 14 million votes were cast by a turnout of 65% of registered voters. Election observers have lauded Kenya for increased number of elected women after the polls. More women ran for office and won in the just concluded Kenyan general elections compared to previous ones. This is as a result of the efforts by state agencies working together to improve enabling political environment for female candidates. By Saturday, at least 7 counties of the 47 had elected female governors, an improvement from the expiring term where 4 counties were led by female governors. Official results have also shown that 22 women out of the confirmed results for 108 seats had been elected. 7 of them won back their seats. This tally excludes the 47 seats allocated to women contenders only. However, the observers identified a number of issues that still stand in the way of women's candidature and victory in the elective seats they ran for, the main being the inability to mobilize adequate funds to finance their campaigns. Businesses in the central business district of Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown, have opened once again, with state agencies providing services to citizens following the deadly protest last week. Heavy security presence still remains on the streets in parts of the capital as the imposed curfew still persists. There have been reports of police carrying out exercises in the city center on Friday morning. The president of Sierra Leone, Julius Maada Bio, in a media interview described this week's protest as an act of terrorism. So far, police have accused the Sierra Leonean citizen residing in Holland to be responsible for instigating the insurrection. The internet in the country has since been disrupted by the government, suspecting that those behind the protest are using social media to mobilize momentum. Days after Ghana was downgraded by the S&P rating agencies to junk status, the Ghana Statistical Service has announced that the inflation rate for July 2022 has hit 31.7% from 29.8% in June, which was a 19-year high, driven by high transport and housing prices. Despite averaging 12% in the last quarter of 2021, Ghana's year-on-year inflation has been on the rise. In the second quarter of 2022, however, inflation averaged 27%. With a fast depreciating cedi, the prospects are that inflation would keep rising in the coming months, even though price pressure is expected to ease as the price of wheat on the global market dips and the country approaches the harvest season. The cedi has depreciated more than 30% as against the US dollar since the beginning of the year. Nigerian Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed has announced a 5% tax on mobile services in a statement outlining the country's fiscal predicament as it spends more on debt servicing than it takes in revenue. This comes after Ghana also introduced the electronic levy, which is popularly called the e-levy. Ahmed didn't say when Nigeria will start collecting the tax, which is in addition to a 7.5 value-added tax on calls and data. In the first 4 months of the year, the country generated 1.63 trillion naira, which is about 3.9 billion US dollar in revenue, and made 1.94 trillion naira, which is about 4.6 billion US dollar in debt servicing. The latest list of heavily indebted poor countries, HIPC, has been published, with 34 out of the 39 countries being African. This is according to the data obtained by the Business Insider Africa. The HIPC list is a joint initiative of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund (IMF), which was launched in 1996. According to information obtained from the IMF fact sheet, the initiative aims to ensure that no poor country ever faces a debt burden that it cannot manage. The Debt Relief Initiative works in such a way that the multilateral financial organization, including the IMF and the World Bank, collaborate with the governments of impoverished countries to lower the external debts to sustained levels. The countries have a combined population of about 760 million people. At least 41 people were killed and 14 others injured in a fire at a church in the city of Giza, near Cairo, Egypt's Coptic church, as said by the health ministry. Egypt's health ministry earlier said several people were killed in the fire at the Abu Sufyan Coptic church in the Imbaba neighborhood on Sunday, and that ambulances transferred at least 55 people to local hospitals. Two security sources told the media that an electrical fire broke out as 5,000 worshippers gathered for mass, causing a stampede. 15 fire engines were dispatched to the scene to put out the flames, while ambulances fired the casualties to nearby hospitals. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi spoke by phone with the Coptic Christian Pope Tawadros II to offer his condolences, the president's office said. The Ghanaian capital, Accra, will be hosting this year's Global Citizen Festival, as the organizers announced last week. The Global Citizen Festival is a celebration of music and social change that brings together artists, activists, world leaders, and global citizens to demand urgent change on the world's biggest issues. It is also the place for performances from some of the world's biggest artists. The Global Citizen Festival stage provides a platform for world leaders, business leaders, and philanthropists to make commitments in the mission to end extreme poverty and deal with real, lasting change. Artists taken to the Black Star Square stage on September 4th are Asha, Jackie, Her, Sarkodie, Stoneboy, Stormzy, SZA, and Thames. The president of the Confederation of African Football, Mr. Patrice Motsepe, has launched the CAF Super League, a new 24-club tournament that aims to revolutionize African soccer and become its richest competition. This was launched despite the organization's report of a loss of nearly $50 million last year. Mr. Motsepe said at the start of CAF's General Assembly in Arusha, Tanzania, on Wednesday that the new league will offer prize money of $100 million, over 5 times more than Africa's current Champions League, and that each club in the inaugural season of the cross-continent competition would receive $2.5 million at the start to help fund its preparations and participation. The competition is scheduled to begin in 2023 and has the backing of FIFA, unlike Europe's doomed Super League club projects last year. The official launch was held last Wednesday. And now to the Commonwealth Games. Africa's most populous nation topped the continent's medal table for the first time since 1994, with South Africa coming in second and Kenya in third. Nigeria finished with 35 medals, South Africa with 27 and Kenya with 21. Ghana also amassed a total of 5 medals, while the Gambia concluded the African medals won with 1 silver. As the Commonwealth Games continues to divide opinions due to the history of the UK's relation with the members of the Commonwealth, Kenyan's middle distance runner, Consulos Kipruto, believes that the event still produces a competitive contest. Quote, "The Commonwealth Games is a big event. We ran a good steeplechase event, for example, very competitive one. We always come to compete as we were colonized by the British. We come to battle for these medals. It is always good to have a Commonwealth medal in your cabinet." Unquote. That will be all for this week's weekly Pan-African News Roundup on KBJ. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and click on the notification bell to stay updated. You can also follow us on all our social media handles. Thank you very much. It's bye for now.